Hello, Strawberries. I hope you're having a lovely day, and welcome to the first video of my submissions for Inktober 2017. Oh boy, this has been quite the last 10 days. Oh man. First and foremost, if you are doing Inktober, I wish you the best of luck, and let me know in the comment section if you are doing Inktober so I can check out what you're doing. I'm not gonna lie, I did kind of fall off the face of social media, at least with replying and talking to people, because this really caught me off guard. Not gonna lie, I really was struggling, especially after I believe it was day 5. Yeah, because something health-wise happened, and I'll get a little more into that later on. But pretty much just to reiterate and or just refresh you guys, what I'm doing for this year with Inktober is I am using this book of myths and folklore of Ireland for inspiration. And I initially in the first video said I was going to keep it a surprise by not even opening the book, not even cracking it open until day 1. And lo and behold, I was very surprised because there are only 20 stories, and there are 31 days of Inktober. So, yeah, I was a little panicky at first, but luckily the first story really inspired me, and I ultimately drew 4 pictures as a result just for that one story. And then if that's how it's going to be, then I'm figuring, hey, maybe for the rest of the month, there are just a couple stories where I'll do 2 to 3 pieces, and then the rest I can just do a single one, just depending on inspiration. If, if it's like, hey, I could do that, then I'll do it. So for this picture that you are seeing in the time lapse, that's the whole process I recorded. That is part of the first story. I come to realize, because at first I thought really that this book was going to have a lot of shorter stories, but it turned out to be the complete opposite. It was a lot longer. So, this piece, I will try to give a bit of context, but I'm not the best when it comes to summarizing stories, because it's like, I want to tell all the details, but it would take too long to read the whole story to you. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna try and summarize this the best way I can. There's a prince who meets a giant. Um, on a hill, and the giant's like, hey, do you play cards? And the prince is like, yeah, let's play. And then the giant's like, what do you want to offer, or like, what do you want to bet? And um so it becomes that kind of game where they end up betting on stuff. And on the first day the prince wins, second day the prince wins again, but then the sage in the castle's like, you probably shouldn't go the third day. The prince goes on the third day, and of course, what does the prince do? He's like, oh, I don't have anything, which really doesn't make any sense because he's a prince. But anyway, the giant's like, well, you have your head. Let's bet on that. And the prince loses. And thus, the story takes a whole other turn with the prince trying to find a way to save himself, because the giant is oddly generous in saying that you have a year and a day. So, I don't know. I guess maybe it's just like, yeah, I'll take your head later. um, And he goes on this adventure to try and figure out how he can convince the giant to not take his head away. So the prince eventually comes across this old woman's house who, by the way, side note, you'll notice the number 3 comes is like a recurring theme. So in this case, this witch has 2 other sisters, and she tells him to take this ball of yarn, throw it on the ground, and while follow it while rolling the spread back up into a ball again. And then second sister does the same thing after treating him to a meal. And then the third sister is like, well, it's a good thing you're here. I've got, I can help you. You need to find the giant's 3 daughters who are supposed to be taking a bath in this lake. And you need to recruit this particular one. And yeah, he does that. he's actually pretty decent at following instructions, thank goodness. But yeah, I mean, you probably would be too if your life was on the line. So, she eventually helps him, and they go back to the giant's castle, and the giant is really adamant on putting the prince through more tests. So then, I don't know, I guess because since the prince is bound to die anyway, it's like, maybe you can help me get these things. Otherwise, I'll kill you. So, um, lo and behold, it's a series of 3 tests, and he succeeds in the first and second one thanks to the help of the daughter. And on the third day, or the third test, the giant, and that's where we come to this picture, he says, "There is a tree that is 900 feet tall beneath my castle. It's covered in glass. The only branch is at the very top, and in that branch, or on that branch, there is a nest, and in that nest, there is an egg. Collect the egg, give it to me, and I'll let you live. If not, then I'll surely have your head." And needless to say, the prince is like, how on earth am I going to do this? This, the way I tried to draw it was so the panes of glass would look really big and not like the possibility of getting a grip on it is next to impossible. So that's when the daughter comes in again and helps him by saying, this is where it gets kind of gory and gross too, which is like, I wasn't prepared for that. But she's like, you need to kill me and use my body parts as, you know, to climb up. So it's like, wow. Apparently, though, because supernatural reasons, she's like, if you touch every part while coming down, I will come back together and be alive at the through the spring. Yeah. The only reason why I'm saying this is because at the end, just as he reaches the last, um, just as before he's about to reach the last toe, which is at the very bottom after he's gotten the egg, the prince ends up skipping it, and the giant's daughter ends up only with 9 toes. And the reason why I mentioned that also is because in the fourth picture, um, after the task is complete, the giant lets the prince go. He gets to go back home. Everyone celebrates, and the king and queen are like, hey, let's find you a bride. Let's get you married. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to marry the giant's daughter. And, you know, it's nice because she saved his life at least 3 times. So, yeah. In the final piece, I have them on their wedding day, and I thought because, since she's the giant's daughter, that maybe she'd be taller, so he has to get on his tiptoes to kiss her. And yeah, it's kind of cute. Because then I also illustrated her missing one tail. But yeah, like these stories, they're really fascinating. I really have just been enjoying this, and I'm actually, it's so much fun to read. Because if those of you don't know, I am a big stickler for fantasy, and this book actually too. I did want to mention this. Well, we're a bit deeper into the video because this is a bit more personal. That's why I also didn't want to mention this in the announced video, because I feel like, I don't know, since you guys have already come along with me on this journey, I'd be real with you. This book actually, you may have noticed in the announcement video that it is kind of worn. It didn't look like a brand new book, and that's because I didn't actually buy this book. This is a book that it originally came from my grandparents' house, and I lost my grandfather when I was about 9 years old, and in a couple of years ago, my grandmother eventually passed away too. But because he helped build the house that she got to live in, she wanted to stay in it for as long as she possibly could. And one of the things that ended up happening was there's all this stuff left behind, and not exactly a will, just because of that's just the way it was. And we ended up going through some of the things, and I ended up taking this book with me. So it has a special place in my heart because I feel like it's a connection to my grandfather, because he wasn't born in Ireland, but both of his parents were Irish immigrants. And I just remember my grandfather having an appreciation for fantasy. Like one of the last few memories I have of him was when I visited him in the hospital and he was reading Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Like the 75-year-old man reading that was like, coolest crap ever. And yeah, so I feel like I can show that appreciation too. And this has been a lot of fun so far. I do want to emphasize how important it is that you guys take breaks because physically speaking, I did have something happen with my back because I was sitting for too long, hunched over my desk and inking and stuff because, I'm not used to drawing for this long period of time every day. Like I did sketches, but I didn't do detailed line work, and just other stuff in general because I didn't want to just draw this stuff for Inktober. I still wanted to work on other things. So yeah, but all the reason, guys, definitely take care of yourselves and if you are doing Inktober, give yourself a break. Even if you end up submitting late, it's completely fine. Even as the event ends, you still have your body to deal with, and if you end up hurting yourself, it's not worth it. It's really not. I know how important it is to follow through with your goals. I'm really goal oriented, especially with this challenge, and you'll notice as if you've been looking at my Instagram that there are a couple of or at least one piece where you can tell I tried to get through it quickly, and that's because I was so goal oriented, but I was in excruciating pain. So I was like, I'm not going to spend too long on this. But yeah. Anyway, sorry for my rambles. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this process and just some of the things I've done so far. I'll have a link to my Instagram so you can check out the pieces. I will do a full flip through. I may flip through a couple of things. I don't know. I haven't recorded that part yet as I'm saying this, but um, I will do a full flip through of the book when I finished all my Inktober pieces at the end of the month. So yeah, if you just want to have full flip through, we can talk about some more things. But again, even if you're not participating in Inktober, hope you have a lovely day and just lovely weekend or however much time is in between this video and my next one. So 2 weeks. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm gonna head out. Thanks again for watching, and yeah, I will talk to you guys again in my next video. Until next time.